Who the fuck knows? God damn it. Whatever. There goes. That was a little bit of our very own Alex Plock's Circus by the Seas new song. Or actually, it's his own new song. He just composed that. It's called Lander. If you want to find out more about that great band, there's a bunch of links we'll be dropping throughout tonight's show. But for some reason, it is kind of hanging out and not advancing, so I'll just kind of assume, fuck it, let's move on. It's good to see everybody. I apologize for the delays and my spotty schedule. There we go. You know, I had a bunch of, I had vertigo, and then that took me out of, it doesn't matter. The point is, I've been busy. I missed you guys. I missed streaming. Glad to be back. Let me tell you what tonight's show is going to be. In fact, there's a bunch of stuff going on moving into the weekend. So tomorrow at 2 o'clock California time, we'll start a little bit earlier. We will be watching State of Play together. If you want to come watch that, we'll be watching the Horizon 2, whatever it's called, whatever the fuck it's called. And then tomorrow night, let me just show you some pictures. Let me put some pictures, as the kids say, up on your television screen, as it were. Here we go. So this is State of Play, Horizon Forbidden West. This is happening tomorrow. It's really weird. There's literally a 5-hour, pre-show that is happening before the 2 p.m. Pacific reveal. What they're going to be doing, I don't know. But there's about 20 minutes of gameplay, a little bit less of Horizon. I think the State of Play is totally focused on that, and we'll be watching that together. And then tomorrow night, Gabbin' Games game night, we're going to be playing Super Bomberman R, which just comes out tomorrow for free for PS4, PS5. It's also on Xbox. It's also, I think, on Stadia. It's also on PC. I don't know if it's free on those, but the free-to-play version is launching tomorrow on PlayStation. We're playing that, which is great. I've played it before, and we're playing the phenomenal Knockout City. There's a lot of slots in these games, so there'll be a lot of churn. If you're interested, members get front of the line, but everybody can play. This will be happening tomorrow. Okay, yes, we can argue. One moment, Brian King. We will get into it. And then the other couple things really quickly. This auction ends tomorrow. There are 2 auctions. We are raising money for COVID relief, but specifically at the moment, it looks like this great charity, which is one of the highest rated charities on the planet. These guys are helping out in India, where, if you're not aware, what's happening over there with COVID is they're hitting a 4th wave, horrid conditions. This is an original God of War design document back when it was called Greek Myth Play Mechanics. Yes, it is a piece of notebook paper. I will put this in the chat right now if you want to go over there and look at it. There you go. And then this is a framed picture of Lee Wilson's original artwork from Twisted Metal 2 concept art for the Amazonia level. The frame's a little beat up. It's hung in my offices for the last 15 years. But you get the frame, you get the picture. You can break the frame, reframe it if you want. But that's the original Real McCoy. And that right now is sitting at about $355. I'll put that in the chat as well. So there you go. So that's what's happening. Yes, I will. Well, we'll talk about Far Cry in just a little bit. The Far Cry reveal that's coming out. That's one of the news stories I want to touch on today. I want to real quickly thank our newest, actually not really our new, holy shit. So Spazbo, it's really funny because I just sent Spazbo a birthday card yesterday because Spazbo was a God of War a couple of months back. And all the birthday cards up until 1st of June have gone out. Design documents went out today. Trucks, the final Sweet Tooth trucks went out today. But I see Spazbo first comes in and says, I'm going to upgrade to Cult of Calypso. Now he's upgrading to Gods of War. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Before we get into our first news story, which is how fucking annoyed I am at Fanboys today, let's bring Spazbo in. He's waiting on the goddamn phone. Spazbo, it's Jaffe. What's up, man?
Oh, hi.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing.
Why are you in the call-in waiting room?
I was expecting you to bring people in a bit later than what you are.
Okay. Well, do you want to talk about something, or you want to come in later?
Well, what's this?
Okay, come back.
Fanboys?
Come back in later. Come back in later, Spaz, when you got something to say. All right, man. There you go. Spaz is like, dude, I'm stoned. I'm high as a goddamn kite. I'm not really meaning to grow the beard. It's just kind of, and the lady at the grocery store today sees me and she's just like, you look, this is a different style for you. I'm like, lady, this isn't a style. This is just laziness. Bacon Magma says, wait, so have the God of War giveaway stuff been shipped? Let me give you a little update on that. Not yet, but hello, Zanmoff. Nice to see you, sir. No. But they will. Here. I was going to get you motherfuckers NFTs based on God of War stuff. That was the plan. That was the big surprise, right? And then it turned out the company, which is Teespring, which is going to be doing NFTs for members and things, are like, oh, we've moved that back about 3 months. So instead, I'm having to sort of punt and do something that's still exceptionally cool. It's just not quite ready yet. But everybody who was a God of War member for that April time period up to April 5th, you're on the list. You'll absolutely be getting it. Okay, so let's talk about fanboys for a minute. There's this guy Chris this guy's a troll, so let's not worry too. I don't really give a fuck, but here's what kind of has me annoyed right now. Is I don't really know how to parse it or not parse it. I don't know how to process it. Right? I don't, it's like, I'm not used to this level of poor arguing skills, of vitriol. I don't really understand it. This guy, Chris, is talking, so Guapzilla, who's a decent guy, I talk to him from time to time. He was telling me, there's this sense that I shill Game Pass, and he was talking to me, and I'll talk about this in a minute. I'll show you some examples. He was talking to me about the number of games on PS Plus that are day and date compared to Game Pass. And all I was saying is that no, Game Pass has dropped more day and date games than PlayStation Plus. Like 30, I think. We used November as the starting point. So he was like, PlayStation Plus has dropped 9 games. And I'm like, really? Well, Xbox, I think Game Pass has dropped, 30. And he's like, that's not true. And I'm just like, and then this guy Chris comes in and he's just like, Jaffe's a paid shill, and he just goes on and on and on. And I'm just like, why can't some of these people I'm really curious. If you want to call in, I would love to know, why do you care so much? Like, why, I mean, I know, Connor, Alexa Bliss's pig died. I know. Why do you care so much? Like, and I'm not saying it like I'm trying to be silly. I'm assuming you're not trolling. Like, I think this guy Chris is trolling. That's fine. But I mean, I have said over and over that I love PlayStation, that I love Xbox. I think Game Pass is better than PS Now right now. You guys know the whole song and dance. I love all the systems. I got all the systems. Lately, I've been playing a lot more on my Xbox, but for about 2.5 weeks there, it was nothing but Days Gone and Returnal is all I was playing. So what I would like to talk about tonight, along with a handful of other things, is why this is so personal. Why this is so emotionally charged for some people. It's just like, really? I was saying to somebody online today, it's like when I was in school, in high school, you were lucky if you could find 4 or 5 other people that were gamers of anything, let alone video games. So anybody who gamed, that's how I came up. That's what I'm used to. Anybody who gamed was your people. They were your tribe. And now it's just like, motherfucker, we all love games. If I didn't have a PS5 or if I didn't have an Xbox or whatever, I wouldn't sit there and bash the comp. I'd just be like, cool, maybe we can trade over the weekend. You can take my PS5, I'll take your Xbox, and we can play games that we usually don't, have access to. Why is this a problem? Ricardo Estevez, you goddamn know I appreciate it. Ricardo Estevez jumps in and joins Diet Soda Soldiers. He's been a member before, but I appreciate it, buddy. You know I do. I appreciate all the support we get from Good Sir Ricardo. Thank you, buddy. This guy in the chat, Eternal Umbra, says, Jaffe, with the constant toxicity of Sony fanboys, I absolutely understand why you feel this way. Yeah, I can't get my head around it. This guy, Pawkinshup, says, seriously, Jaffe, it's pure tribalism. They define their identity by a hunk of plastic, and they are currently touting it as the best hunk. Somebody, I think it was Eddie Torres, if Eddie wasn't a therapist, he should be one, but this is pretty insightful. I think this is absolutely true. He says, Eddie Torres says, these people who are doing this have low self-esteem, and by associating with a successful company, they feel better about themselves. I think that's a really good point, because it's almost like a lot of their internal sense of, except influencers and YouTubers and stuff. Like, look, I'm not a fucking moron. Saltiest gamers in the chat right now. You know good and goddamn well, Salty, and you should call in if you want to. You know good and goddamn well that a lot of people, including me, you can look at I don't stir the pot to actually get people upset, but I stir the pot to say, hey, here's something we could debate and discuss and talk about, but in a respectful manner, and I know you do the same thing. But the idea, though, that other than people like that, I think it has to be low self-esteem. It's like you're really invested. Your sense of personal self is really tied into a fucking box. Pawkinshup says you say the same thing with sports. Yeah, but aren't you embarrassed by it? Like, is that okay? I mean, I remember I grew up in Alabama, and I remember I was an Auburn fan, and Auburn was kind of and remains the underdog team. They're nowhere as good as Alabama. Every now and then, Auburn's able to kick their asses. But, people take that shit serious. And I'm like, motherfucker, trust me, you think I'm out of shape? You couldn't get your fucking fat ass on that field? You're not playing for Alabama? You're not playing for fucking Auburn? Sit the fuck down, motherfucker. At least my dad went to Auburn. So I literally get on an airplane to fly back to California once, and I'm wearing an Auburn sweatshirt. And I'm literally getting people staring at me on the plane like I've got some kind of, disease that I might pass to them. Like I have COVID if I sit next to them. I don't understand people like this. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. Any chance you could call in, you can always call in. Anybody wants to call in and discuss this, I would love to hear your views. We are going to move on, but we'll come back to this throughout the evening if you want to talk about it. I would love to hear your thoughts. Burva says fanboys most likely have the one console. I understand that. People that own everything like me don't really care. I own everything as well, but when I was a kid, I didn't. When I was a kid, younger than a lot of these motherfuckers, we didn't have a lot of money growing up. We had the Atari 2600. My buddy Carrie had the Intellivision. And I didn't sit around and go, fuck you, motherfucker, you eat your mother's twat. I was just like, oh, wow, you have Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. That's what I want to play. Can I come over? And he's like, oh, cool, you have Indy 500 and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Can I come over? I'm like, of course. Of course. I don't understand. I would love if you were to get an opportunity to jump on a podcast with Rogan, says Brian East. Joe Rogan. I'm not a big enough name for Joe Rogan, but I'd go to Texas if he called. I like some of his stuff for sure. Amon says, I'm excited for your Monday interview with Cuba. The fuck is Cuba? I don't have an interview coming up Monday. Do I? Shit, you better. Did I miss something? By the way, I got some confirmations today. These will not be the next two interviews, but we will be having Little John Romero of Doom and Quake and id and now Empire of Sin fame is coming on the show. He's going to be taking your calls. That'll be, I'm thinking, in about a week and a half. I want to get a little bit more educated up on Empire of Sin before I talk to him. And then I also spoke today with Alana Pierce when she gets back from Australia in July. She will be coming on the show as well. There'll be some guests in between those periods, but I just wanted to let you know that those are looking like pretty good confirmed conversations. Captain Cuba, the charity interview. Yes, that's exactly right. I will be speaking with, I think he's got a big God of War channel over on the YouTubes. Dread Central is here. Dread Central, I want to tell you real quick that I started finally playing the new Dread X collection, The Hunt, last night. That's the best one you guys have put out ever. It was fantastic. And I absolutely will be playing it online. May even play some of it tonight. There were some really good games on there. I think it's the best one. Tony Barnes, listen, you guys. Tony Barnes' video game royalty. Jungle Strike, Desert Strike. He's got a brand new game coming out, which is from Retro Ninjas, the name of his company. I forget the name of your game, but it's very, very cool. He says, hey, Jaffe, I find it funny, these fanboys. They are not making money off the wars, so I don't understand the willingness to catch heat for a consumer machine. I think really what it has to do with is what Eddie Torres said. They're insecure. When I was a kid, I was an insecure teenager, and I was always into the movies and stuff, and I literally would get emotionally attached to the box office of Steven Spielberg's movies. Like, if he put a movie out like Empire of the Sun and it didn't perform, and I got the USA Today on Monday and I saw the box office was bad, it really kind of fucking bothered me. I mean, and I had to get some therapy, not for that, but that came out in the therapy of like, wow, man, you were a really insecure motherfucker. I'm like, yeah, I guess I was. Shuhei Yoshida stream, Hunter. I would love to get Shu on. I don't know if any of the Sony people can come on or want to come on, but I'll certainly ask the guy. I'd love to have Shu on. Okay. Okay, so but I do want to talk about this. This is, briefly, this is what Guapzilla, who I don't really have any problems with, we disagree on some things, but I just want to make, I don't know if he's on the chat right now, but he sends me this, or he sends this out and says his theory is, or his thesis is, that PlayStation Plus is a better service than Game Pass, and there are more day-and-date drops than Game Pass. Now, I'm sorry, I don't think that's true. And I said, well, how far back do you want to go? He says, let's try November. Fuck it, let's do the whole, from November. Okay. So I'm not going to bore you. I'm just going to do this really, really fucking fast, okay? So Bug Snacks, that's 1. I don't know if Worms Rumble. Let's just give them Worms Rumble. That's 2. None of these are new. All Stars is 2, 3. Concrete Genie, that was not, that, no. The Concrete Genie, so his All Stars is 3. None of these are new. Abe's Odyssey is new. That's 4. Wreckfest, okay, it's the PS5 edition. Fine, give him Wreckfest. That's 5. Operation Tango, that looks great. That's 6. And Virtual Fighter 5, exclusive at least for the moment to PS4. That's 7. Okay, well, I don't know what he means by day and date, because if you look at Xbox, if you look at Game Pass, and again, I am not. I just why. No, Maquette was not new. Maquette was absolutely not new. Maquette was not day and date. Maquette was from Annapurna, and it was on PC before it was on Game Pass. That said, though, fine, give him that one too. Great. But just so we're clear, I agree, Ricardo. Live Gold is embarrassing for sure. But just so we're clear, on the definition, day and date doesn't mean, okay, because this guy, Guapzilla, is absolutely correct if he's suggesting that first party day and date, or even second party day and date, is exclusive, or beats Game Pass. Oh yeah, 100%. But that's not what he's talking about to get up to his 9. Hello, Molina Khan. Good to see you as always. I hope some of you guys are looking up above where I've updated the ads and the member pictures and all that shit. If you're a member and you don't have a picture up there, that's because you didn't send me one. So send me one. We'll get it going. Jamali says, Jaffe, he's missing a key distinction between Game Pass, PS Plus, and if you join in June, you get none of the PS Plus games, but all the Game Pass games. Yeah, but I guess, but you could counter that argument by saying that if you... these PlayStation Plus games aren't going anywhere. So if I downloaded Remnant and Maquette in March, and even if I cancel PlayStation Plus and come back 3 years later, those will be there. You're absolutely right. You can't say the same about Game Pass. And I don't hate PS Plus. The funny thing about this is I have PS Plus, I have PS Now, I have Luna, I have Stadia. It's like I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm just being practical with the data. Maneater and Control were not day and date. Come on now. Wolfenstein was not the first person shooter. No, it was the first famous one. There's a great documentary, Ollie, coming out. It's being kickstarted right now from the same guys. I want to say they're the same guys that made the horror documentary about all the 70s and 80s slashers. But it's a great documentary all about first-person shooters that is coming out. I want to show you just briefly. I mean, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this. I just want to. You know what? Fuck it. No. If you guys want to see it, I'll show it to you. Okay. Which is basically I had the Xbox ready Game Pass console to bring up, and I was going to show you many more day and date games. If you'd like to see it, okay, well, there you go. Sumo says, what Game Pass games are dropping day and date? Okay, I will show you really quick. Brian, you're right. People want to think you've picked a side, which when you have no reason to. A, because I'm a goddamn grown-ass adult that doesn't really give a fuck. I don't own stock in any of these fucking companies. Of course, I don't have a fucking reason to pick a side. The fuck do I care who's got the best goddamn box? Because I got them both, and even if I didn't, who gives a shit? All right, let's take a look. The Wild at Hearts, brilliant fucking game. That was day and date. That's one of the things I'm playing right now. Okay, but let's go to Game Pass. We'll do this really quick. Okay, and I'm gonna miss some, but that's okay. Okay. These are old. I think I'm doing all, right? Okay, where are we? Blair Witch, day and date. Call of the Sea, day and date. Carry On, day and date. Cyber Shadow, day and date. Descenders might have been day and date. I'm not sure. I don't want to say that for sure. Falconer, day and date. I think this was day and date. Fee, I don't know what that is, but I think it was. Okay, there's more. Obviously, Gears Tactics, day and date. Gears of War Hivebusters, day and date. Genesis Noir, day and date. Grounded, day and date. Haven was day and date. Hot Shots Racing, one of the best games last year, was day and date. Katana Zero was not. That was not day and date. Knights and Bikes, I think, was. Knockout City, everybody got that. Don't worry about that one. Let's see. The Medium, of course, whatever, you know. I didn't care for that. MLB The Show, day and date, sure. Well, no, it's true, though. It was free. Minecraft Dungeons, day and date, free. I know, don't come at me, motherfucker. Narita Boy, day and date. I'm probably missing some, but Nowhere Prophet may have been day and date. Obviously, the Ori games were day and date. I don't know if Outer Wilds were. I don't think it was. Outer Worlds was day and date. Outriders was day and date. Hang on. Project Winter may have been day and date. I don't remember. Rain on Your Parade was day and date. That just came out. I don't know about Rocket Arena. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure I'm missing something. Second Extinction, day and date. Spiritfarer was day and date. Aren't you getting tired of hearing me say day and date? Streets of Rage was day and date. Battletoads should have been up there. That was day and date as well. I don't know. Some of these seems like they're missing. Maybe it's the ones I've already downloaded. Tell Me Why was day and date. Torchlight 3, I believe, was day and date. Again, I don't want to, I'm not trying to sell anybody on anything. I'm just, Until the End may have been, but I just want to, some I'm going to get wrong. Wasteland was day and date. Wild at Hearts, we already talked about, was day and date. Wasteland Remastered, day and date. What else? Okay, so these were all day and date games, okay? And also there's, if you're talking about PC, you've got Game Pass had Flight Sim, day and date. They had that, what's that big strategy, hardcore strategy game everybody's really getting into, or were, about kings and kingdoms and all that shit. That was all day and date. So, I mean, again, I'm not saying, again, I have both. So let's just have a real goddamn conversation. I'm going to bring some of these people in the chat in real quick. Let's just, West of Dead, that's right. I just want to have a real conversation about why this matters to people. It's like, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, look, like I said, I grew up without a lot of money, but $500 isn't a lot of money in the sense that if you can save or get a job or, sell some shit or whatever. No, not Age of Empires. It's something it's the third in a plan or whatever. What is that goddamn thing? The third title and a third sequel, whatever, Kingdoms or something. Got a 10 out of 10 on IGN, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So anyway, the point though is like, it's just like, I don't understand. Just go get a job or save up or wait for a birthday, wait for Christmas. Okay, Gavin, don't give me the little, okay, I don't know when it started. When I did earlier with Guapzilla, I did go back to November and I counted 30. Crusader Kings, that's right. Thank you, Brian. I counted 30. So you're right. I just was on a roll there, just going through them all for the sake of the show and speed. But you're right. Not all of those were November, but there were 30 in November and there were 8 or 9, depending on how you look at it, in Game Pass or PlayStation Plus. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, let me bring in some calls real quick and then we are going to move the fuck on. Dog Breath. What's up, pal? What's going on, man? Dog Breath. Oh.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, well, go. What do you want to talk about? Don't give me attitude. I don't got fucking patience for it, baby. Go.
All right. I'm just here to clarify some things.
Go.
Control on the PlayStation Plus, the PS5 version of that game with the haptic feedback and like all of that stuff that was supposed to cost extra came free with the PS Plus version of that.
Okay.
Mariquette also was day and date.
Whoa, stop. I got Control. What was the second thing?
Mariquette with Final Fantasy VII Remake. The PS5 game.
I don't know if that was day
that
and
was
date.
Day and date.
I'm
date.
going to look that up.
All right, go ahead.
I will.
Maneater PS5 was also.
Oh, come on. No, come
haptic
on.
Feedback, adaptive triggers.
God. Okay, fine.
Hey,
fine. Dude, fine. Look, oh, God.
I'm just clarifying some things.
Okay, but let's be clear what you're talking about. Yeah, the Shark game that came out a long time ago came out on the day they were, the day they put out the PS5 version, they put it on PlayStation Plus. I can't fathom why. Okay, but sure, it was so different.
Yeah, I'm just saying that like PS Plus and Game Pass, you can't really compare the two. One's a monthly service. Well, both are monthly services, but one's with online, and I think you have to compare PS Plus with games with gold of anything.
Well, hang on a second. I will concede the point. You're right. Maquette, I could have sworn came out earlier. Maybe I was thinking of the demo, but you're right. That came out March 2nd. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, Game Pass should be compared with PlayStation Now. It totally creams PlayStation Now. But I'm just saying PS Plus and games with gold should probably be compared with one another because they both offer free games for the month.
Games with gold is shit. Games with gold is a piece of...
Sucks.
Yes, it's terrible. Yeah.
But, like, PS Plus has its benefits. Game Pass has so many benefits. But the problem I have with Game Pass is... I don't know if anybody else has it, but when I get a subscription service and I want to play a bunch of games, I kind of get overload with the games. So I kind of like, I'm pushing things back. Like, it has all the EA access. It's getting Ubisoft games soon. So it's like a little too much for me personally.
Yeah.
Game Pass is amazing for people, but right now I don't have the Xbox Series X because there's nothing that I really care for. But once Halo comes out, Starfield, all those games, I'm definitely getting an Xbox, but I'm just like,
Well, no, I mean, but see, your point of view though, I certainly don't have a problem with your point of view. Your point of view is going, oh, for me, this doesn't work, and here's why. I'm like, oh, okay. If somebody says to me, I really like collecting games, I like to own my games, okay. Right? I mean, if you're just, there are certainly things that Game Pass does and doesn't do that would motivate someone to either be a fan of it or say that's not for me. My issue isn't that. My issue is, why in the fuck are these people such children? Why can't they just...
it's solely because they want their box that they spent their money on to win.
But
That's all
why?
they care
But
about.
why are they that mentally not well?
Yes. Have you seen Twitter?
I know, but I don't. Maybe I'm just naive. I just have a hard time believing that's like real people. Like are they acting or
They're
do you?
comparing. They're doing stuff with 1080p turning into 4K versus true 4K. And
Oh, I've
the
seen it.
PS5
I've
is
absolutely seen it. Like that's
6
gonna
milliseconds
fucking.
more.
Oh, it's so dumb. It is so embarrassing. Yeah, you're exactly right. It's like, oh, this pixel frame rate. Blah. I mean, I was in the industry for 24 years. I don't know what the fuck half the people are talking about. It's not gonna make the goddamn game any better. I mean, think about that.
Exactly.
You're
Like,
sitting
look
there.
at Biomutant.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're sitting there playing a brand new game and it's either good or it's not good. It's either wrapped you up or it's not wrapped you up. That's it.
Yeah, but Game Pass is for people that don't have the money to spend on these games that are coming out like 3 times a month, 4 times a month. It's for people that pay $1 for 3 months and maybe find their favorite game of all time there. You know.
I have plenty of money. I love Game Pass. It's not about the money for me.
No, not for you, but for other people. Like
But
people that don't have.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I don't think that the appeal for most people is it's a budget way to play games any more than
I think $1 for 3 months is.
Oh, well, that's just onboarding. Sony today released, they're doing the same thing with, I'm going to show you guys, you've probably seen it, but I'm going to go over it anyway. Sony put out Jim Ryan's investment presentation that he gave to investors today. And, you know, they said the exact same thing, is we're going to be charging $1 for PlayStation Now in order to acquire users. I mean, that's just, I got Disney Plus. I paid for Disney Plus for 3 years, and they took like, I don't know, 10, 20% off. But that doesn't mean that people who have Netflix or whatever are only having it because they don't have any money. I mean, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with a service that aims to give games to people that aren't financially well off, and Game Pass may do that better than something like a $70 retail title. But the advantage of Game Pass is variety. And when you mix that variety, in my opinion, with quick resume, and I get it. Some people are like, Jeffy, I don't want to play my games that way. That's fine. Totally fine. But quick resume meets Game Pass for me has been an absolute game changer.
Quick resume looks amazing.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Dog Breath, thanks for calling, buddy. I'll see you soon.
No problem.
All right, man. I'm going to bring in Geronimo Draws. Geronimo, are you there, pal? Let me tell you something. I did not know that Geronimo is literally a comic book artist and I think a writer, and he works over, I want to ask him a real quick question if he's there. If you hear me, Geronimo, jump in, because he actually publishes his comic through a comic book company called Athena. And Athena's, Geronimo.
Alterna Comics.
Alterna.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so before we get to your question, I got my question. Help me out, sir.
Sure.
So,
Please.
I love comics. I grew up loving comic books, and I've always been frustrated by the price hike in these comics. And people are like, there's a lot of reasons, and I understand them. But one of the ones I never understood was, it's like, well, the quality of the paper and the printing has gone up. And I'm like, who gives a shit? I've got all these comics behind me from childhood that still read, that still work, and Alterna, is it Alterna?
Alterna Comics.
Their business model, unless they've changed it, was we're going to go back to printing comics on newsprint, and we're going to bring the prices down, right? So how is that working for them?
It's going very well. I mean, the industry itself, I mean, you said in a video once before, how it's, unfortunately, it's going toward more like people who are just nostalgic right now.
Yeah.
It's just, but the newsprint is working out very well. It's keeping at a nice price point, so people are more willing to dive into these different types of stories that all of these alternative creators are creating.
You've got like a horror book coming out, right?
Yes, I have a horror book on Indiegogo called Wirehead. It's a slasher horror, and then I have my dark fantasy comic series Blood Realm, which is through alternate comics.
And that, because I saw yesterday, it was like for $4 or $4.99, you get like 80 pages or something. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad it's going well. I have not been into a comic shop since Alterna started selling their stuff. I did hear the CEO was kind of a bit of a challenging human. I don't know if that's true, and obviously I know you don't want to speak to that. But anyway, all right.
Sure.
So Geronimo, what is up, sir? What do you want to talk about, bud?
Oh, sure. I just wanted to mention two things. Well, first of all, I just want to say Peter's a great guy who publishes Alterna, and he's very much for creators' visions.
Okay,
so,
good.
I mean, that's definitely a plus.
Yeah, I've never met him. I don't know him. I just heard some shit online. Maybe it's not true.
Of course. Well, there's all stuff online that's going on.
Right. That's right. That's right.
But I can only speak about my relationship with him, and he's been great.
Okay,
So,
good.
Yeah, but I just want to say, what would be the distinction between fanboy and someone who's passionate about gaming? Because I think it was Henry Cavill, believe it or not, who said that he doesn't believe that there's toxic fans. He believes that, I think, fans have the right to whatever opinion they want to have, and that people are going to be upset no matter what. So he doesn't necessarily consider that toxic. He just considers that passion. So I guess, what would be the distinction there? Like, what makes a toxic fanboy and someone who's just truly passionate about the industry and wants to see it grow?
I think that's easy, and I think as a creator, you could know that as well, right? Which is passion has nothing to do with toxicity. I mean, you and I can sit, even like Colin Moriarty the other day. I've been pleased but surprised by how many people have written me and written Colin and said, it's so rare to hear two people who disagree still having a civil conversation, right? And I'm just like, that's not rare to me. That's what I expect out of anybody I engage with, unless I'm just in a fucking knockdown, drag out fight, right? So if you and I want to have a debate over newsprint versus more expensive printing, which I'm sure there are people in comics that would have that debate with you, or if you and I want to have a debate over are play mechanics more important than story, there are people that will have that debate with you. But the fanboy who's passionate will love. What's that? Oh, I'm good. Thank you, baby. I appreciate it. You just put it in the fridge if you don't mind. You can have all of it if you want. The fanboy that is passionate about it will argue his point, but he loves the medium and he will have an open mind and he will be willing to concede points. Just like that guy who just called in. I'm like, oh, hey, you were right. I was wrong. Maquette was a day and date game. You're right. All right. Point to you. But ultimately, I love, if you love PlayStation, then love PlayStation. But why does that mean you have to shit on something else? I love Marvel more than I love Image is now Image Comics. If you're listening, like, what are you talking about? Image Comics is now almost like a sort of whatever you want to publish. But back in the day, there were their stable of characters, Savage Dragon, and all that stuff from Jim Lee.
Course, yeah.
And I was like, okay, I appreciated those, but I liked Marvel and DC more than Wildcats. But I had a friend I work with at Sony that loved and I love Gen 13. Truth be told. But other than that, I was just like, we debated and discussed, but I guess the answer to you is the difference is we didn't sit there and call each other a fucking idiot moron unless we were just trash talking and being silly. And I can tell the difference. I can tell the difference when someone's like, taking the piss and we're just having a good time and someone is literally fucking upset about this shit. And I just as a student of life, as somebody who has been in therapy, as someone who has taken therapy classes in college and in high school, I just find that brain fascinating. It's like, how do you go through your life caring that fucking much? I assure you, I worked with Sony for 20 something years. They don't care that much about you. And that doesn't mean they're assholes. I don't mean they're jerks, but I just mean that they don't care that much about you. It's not, it's not real. It's just product, man. And the games are real and the comics are real and the movies are real in terms of what they affect and the emotional response you have. But the people that make them and the hardware and the business choices, it's not a personal fucking thing. I don't get it, man.
Right. No, I agree. I wonder if it has to do with the tribalistic nature of social media and that people now have been reprogrammed to behave in that way because, we're attached to our phones. We interact with social media just I mean, my God, I mean, on a daily basis, some people are addicted to it. So maybe they just kind of get reprogrammed to believe this is how you have to behave, or maybe it just brings out the worst in people, which I kind of believe. It's just, it's interesting why this is how they feel. And I have to defend these companies down to like...
Isn't that, that's the worst part. You've got all these geeks, including myself, that we were raised on things like, you know, whether it was the Paul Verhoeven look at the future with RoboCop, or whether it was Blade Runner, or whether it was Terminator, right. We were raised on the idea that the corporations are evil and they're going to take over. And lo and behold, here you have all these people that came up with that canon of science fiction and fantasy, and literally they're going to war for fucking corporations. It's like, it's
so strange.
It's like, what are you doing?
I know, that's how I feel. Especially like comics used to be so punk rock, you know? It was like, it was against the man, you know what I mean? Against the establishment. And now it's fallen into like, no, you have to get the establishment's back. And if you speak out against it, then there's something wrong with you, you know? You're an outlier or whatever. And it's just so crazy because, again, it used to be so rock and roll, so punk rock.
I loved it back when the geeks fought the jocks. That made sense to me. Now, I'm just like, how are the geeks fighting the geeks? The jocks are sitting back going, we got them, boys. We don't even have to give them swirlies and steal their lunch money. They're doing it to each other.
Exactly.
Fucking crazy. Hey, I'm going to read your book. I'm going to order it, and I'm going to read it. And if I love it, would you be willing to come on the show and talk about it?
Oh, my God, absolutely. I would be honored to.
I love horror. I love comics. I will give it a read, and I'll hit you back.
Oh, great. Thanks so much for having me on, Jeff.
Anytime, man. See you soon, sir. All right, I will get to some calls in just a... Well, let me get to these calls real quick because we're clearly still talking about the same stuff, and then I'm going to move on to some new news. But let me run through some great calls, people who've been waiting. Hello, Vitter. Now I'm doing great. I'm feeling much better. But that vertigo ain't no goddamn joke. Hello, Mr. Kai. I missed 40 minutes. I've been waiting on a Jaffe stream, says Elliot. Well, we've been here, baby. We've been here. Okay, let me bring in my good pal Salty. Hello, Saltiest Gamer. How are you, sir?
Oh, cheerio.
Oh. So what is happening? What do you think about all this? Because you're kind of on the forefront today. And by the way, I know you did a bunch of tweets today about the Sony investor meeting, and we are going to be getting to that report here in just a little bit. But overall, I thought it looked pretty good for Sony. I mean, it was a really positive. There were a couple of interesting things that, at least from my perspective, I don't know if you would agree, that indicate perhaps that Sony is waking up to the fact that the ground in terms of business model of how they distribute games is starting to shift in terms of where they're investing their money. But anybody who's a Sony fan would look at that today and go, well, that was a really good fucking, State of the Union for PlayStation, right?
Yeah, and I could do like 20 videos on that presentation alone. There's so much information packed into those slides.
While you're talking, just so you know, I'm bringing it up so people can see. Okay. And if you haven't seen it, I'm going to put the link in the chat because it's a really good report. All right, go ahead, Salty.
So the report is fantastic, but yeah, like you'd have to be blind not to see that they're following some of the trends that Xbox is doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a $1 deal that they talk about specifically, where do you think that they got that from, right? I won my Xbox One X the other day, and I haven't had Game Pass or Xbox Live for a while, so they were trying to give me 3 months for $3, it was 3 months for $1. Okay, so they're seeing what's going on the other side. So both these companies, it's like a tennis match, right?
Right.
It's like, hey, we're going to do this, and if that's successful, then we're going to try to do our version of it. It's happened throughout the years, right? I mean, Xbox Live originally, party chats, achievements, trophies.
Right. Xbox Arcade, then that gave, So what did you think of the one that, because this one I wasn't sure how to read. It was importance of console in business model is reducing. And then in 2013, 52% of their revenue came from software, services, peripherals, 48% from the hardware. But now in 2021, meaning in the last year, 80% of their ducats came from software, services, peripherals, only 20 from console, but they're not like, how is that possible? I mean, I don't understand that one.
If you look at that left graph, right?
Yes.
It's pretty fascinating because they're about to break even in this month or June upcoming, right?
Okay.
And typically people say that, you know, the hardware itself is not profitable. That's like a term that people use, and you could look at Xbox's report during that trial.
Oh, got it. So they're talking about the profitability of it. It took longer to get to profit on the PS4 than the PS5.
Yeah, but these are two different graphs. So the cost of goods, and then so you're talking about PlayStation 5 Standard Edition is expected to break even next month. So what I'm trying to say is, during that Epic Games Apple trial, Xbox said that their consoles have never been profitable. That's from a hardware standpoint.
Right.
Now, if you look at this graph right here for the PlayStation 5, the Standard Edition, that's not the digital, which is going to make them, you know what I'm saying? So this is the disc version. By July, it's going to start making money on the hardware. So that's a different graph. Now, if you look at the right side, this is a completely different thing, and that makes sense because before, how important was PlayStation Now or PlayStation Plus or any of these things to Sony back in the early days? It wasn't a focal point, but they're making it a focal point to make sure software services and peripherals, all those things are making them a ton of money now because they have more PlayStation Plus subscribers, they have more PlayStation Now subscribers, and they want to make more money off of that because it's the software that generates money typically. It's not the hardware.
Right,
you know,
but are you saying, do you know if this graph is what they spent on software services and peripherals and console, or this is where they made their money?
No, so what this, I don't know, I'm not an expert here, but this is showing the difference between 7 years, right? 13 and 2020.
Yeah, 7 years.
Software and services and peripherals was at a 52% and console was at 48%. So they were putting an emphasis on that. And then now, if you look at today's day, it's 80% peripheral software.
No, it's absolutely growing. I'm just trying to figure out if it's what they made or what they spent. But understood.
No, I don't think that they talked about spending or any of that. It's just, but all these slides are very interesting, okay?
Oh, like, they absolutely are. They absolutely
pull
are.
So much information from it. Like, honestly, you could talk about this stuff because the dollar deal stood out to me. I tweeted this stuff out, and I was just kind of, you know, going with the flow because I pulled up the whole document, and then, you know, based off of what I saw, Days Gone was in one of their slides. I have it up here as an IP powerhouse.
Yeah, but they didn't really define what that means because they put Returnal in there as well, and look, Returnal is brilliant, and I hope it gets some Game of the Year noms, and if not wins. But I think most people would. I think we're far enough along now to say that it probably isn't going to set the world on fire in terms of sales if you look at the drop, at least that's happening on the UK chart. So, I mean, go ahead.
From like an outside perspective, if I was to think about how much money it cost to actually make that game, I don't know if it costs as much as these other.
It did not. I can tell you for sure it did not.
Procedurally generated, not that many, you know, cut scenes. Like there's a lot of voice logs.
Right. Team was not as big. It was definitely not one of the premier spin games like God of War or anything like that. But it was still. They were in production for a very long time on this game.
Do you have that slide for that new growth vectors for PlayStation?
I will bring that up. I do want to point this one out real quick where they're talking about game monetization because a lot of things that fans get upset about. One of the things in this report is Sony saying they're going to start investing more, not just in subscription services, but services. And if you look, and a lot of gamers don't like that, and that's fine. But ultimately, what I always try to express on this stream is not that the people are right or wrong to like that or not, but the businesses go where the money is. And if you look at these two charts from PS5, the amount of money people are spending on microtransactions and sort of post-purchasing the initial disc is, I mean, it's staggering. You know, in terms of where it was, 62%, it's up when it comes to the digital edition. So I think people would be surprised by that. Go ahead.
if you look at the hit, they were talking about the standard edition for the PlayStation 5, where they're talking about being profitable in July.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at that PS5 digital edition, look at that big green marker right there, right? Because that's important, because you look at the standard edition, it's not as big as big of a gap. You know what I'm saying?
No,
So
that's right.
There's a correlation. I think there's a correlation there that they know if you get the digital version of a console, they feel like you're going to be kind of locked in buying digital games to their
Right, because you have to enter your credit
marketplace
card
and all
to
that
get
stuff.
anything. Your
Yeah,
credit card is there, and it's an easy buy. When we were making games for like Drawn to Death, that was always the challenge of like, what can we give the gamer? Let's come up with some of our best shit that's free, but you have to basically enter your email and credit card to get it. Because we knew that when we started selling things, that barrier of entry would have been demolished already. And then it's just like, fuck it, I'll buy it. Whereas if you got to go get your credit card, look at the number, look at it in the back, enter it in, you probably lose, I don't know, 30, 40% of your sales from people who were willing to buy, who were just like, it's too much trouble.
Yeah, because
You know.
if you were to ask, like, if you were to, have someone come from like a time machine and talk to David Jaffe back in 2013, right? Mm-hmm. And you would have said, hey, I don't know how I think you're all digital, right? Or do you own physical discs at this point?
I don't have the digital version. Not that I don't like it. I was able to acquire the
disc version.
The disc version, and so I still, I use Game Pass to get games sometimes, but yeah.
Traditionally, you're not going in the disc, right?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
If someone would have come up to you and said, 2013, hey, David Jaffe, your game library is going to be completely digital, I personally would have laughed at someone.
I wouldn't, and I said it over and over and over and over. This was, in 2012 we were saying it. In 2011 we were saying it, because we were having to deal with the nightmare that was used games for developers, and the nightmare that was those passes that came shipped with an online game that you had to enter the code in order to get access to the online, because we were like going, we don't like these any more than the customer does. But if we sell an online game, we don't see any money off of it, and we still have to pay for the additional server cost and all of this other shit. And so we knew that we were moving towards digital distribution anyway, because we were seeing it happen on the iPhone and whatnot. And even Heartland, which was a game I was working on with the guys in Utah on the PSP, we spent a good couple of weeks seriously considering making that one of the first games that would be downloadable, and it wouldn't even ship on a disc, and it would be episodic. So I absolutely knew. I knew this was coming, and a lot of us got made fun of, just like I'm telling you, and I'm sure you would agree that we know subscription services are going to be the standard way most people get their games in the next 5 years. And you're just sort of seeing, just like you see the record fans. And again, I'm not against these people. They get mad at me just because I'm delivering the information. I understand why some people love their physical shit. I get it. But ultimately, you're a dinosaur. The asteroid is hitting. It's coming now. And you'll be able to get some niche stuff and limited games and all that stuff. But ultimately, that's going away. Why would it not? It's like you said, literally look at this figure, PS5 digital edition, and look at the balance, and look at how much Sony doesn't have to split with GameStop or Best Buy or Amazon or anyone else. Why in the world would it not be going this way? So I don't know what to tell you.
What about new growth vectors in the cloud? Do you have that slide?
Yeah, let me bring that up.
Because this is PlayStation Now, because they did make that, they signed that deal with Azure service.
Yeah, hang on. By the way, I do want to point out, because a lot of people at the beginning of this were talking about the value of PlayStation Plus compared to Game Pass, and I was, I have different opinions on things, but to their credit, these guys have what have they done? They've gone up in 1 year. They've gone up about 7 million subscribers. So PlayStation Plus is definitely is doing pretty fucking well. Okay, here's new growth vectors. Go ahead.
I have a question though. Are those two comparable though at this point? Because
they're not to me, but to some people.
An apple and orange comparison. That would be, because PlayStation Plus is you pay paying your monthly subscription to go online. They give you games in return. That's basically the return for that, right? And the security of online.
Yeah, and you have a couple
Your
other things,
subscription of
discounts.
so the PlayStation Now would be comparable to Game Pass, in my opinion, but.
Well, I mean, they're both. That's why a lot of people think they should be combined, because PlayStation Plus has done a better job of dropping newer games more frequently, whereas PlayStation Now is really weak in that sense. Although PlayStation Now does have a lot of legacy titles, like more than Xbox has. But most people probably are not playing those service-based things to play old PS3 games. Some people are. But ultimately, I think it's correct to compare part of PlayStation Plus and part of PlayStation Now with all of Game Pass. And I think ultimately Sony is going to merge them, and they're going to have to. They're absolutely going to have to.
Here's the deal. I kind of counter that for the fact that they have the PlayStation Plus collection, right?
Yep.
They have that as a value to be a subscriber to PlayStation Plus. And I feel like they made it an emphasis to make PlayStation Plus an extremely good value. If you look at the offerings that they put out there, they've just kind of been incredible. You know, they had Wreckfest in there, PlayStation 5ers, all kinds of new games for the PlayStation 5. Like, some people didn't like Destruction All-Stars, but that was a brand new PlayStation 5 game.
Yes.
I think they're trying to show value with that, and that's why they're seeing return on that investment where there's tons of people subscribing, because why wouldn't you get these free games? You want to play them. And then they have a separate service, which is PlayStation Now, which they're trying to improve. They're increasing the resolution to 1080p. They're trying to give you those dollar deals. They're putting newer games in there like the Avengers. They just don't have the day one situation handled like Xbox does.
Well, that's right now, right? You know, ultimately, not only do they not have the day one, where most of Xbox's day ones have been third-party games. But when these guys do start dropping the Halos and the Psychonauts 2 and the Bethesda titles and the Tango Gameworks games, I mean, then I think that's why you're seeing some of these things that you're seeing in Sony's presentation, because I mean, they know, you know, we'll get to that in a second, but here was the growth vectors that you were talking about. Oh, well, first China. Yeah. You know, oh God, I have issues with China when it comes to their government, and all this censorship shit, man. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. If that starts hitting games and gamers don't go up in arms about it, I don't know what to tell you. But what did you want to talk about in terms of the growth vectors?
No, it's a different slide. It's new growth vectors for the cloud. It has Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Horizon Forbidden West. It has the dollar deal promotion on there. It talks about 3.2 PlayStation Now paid subscribers.
Here it is right here. Here it is right here. By the way, there are some super chats that came through. I will get to those super chats in just a couple of minutes. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Is that the slide?
New growth vectors cloud, $1 for 1 month.
It has Horizon and Spider-Man. I wanted to focus on that because
this is it. This is it.
Okay. Yes, I think I'm behind. Anyway, so if you look at this, obviously there's for 2015, they had 200,000 subscribers to PlayStation Now, and it was like a joke basically. The way that the situation with PlayStation Now, people just did not subscribe to the service because it was you couldn't download your games. I didn't know anybody that actually was a subscriber to that service. Then all of a sudden they started making these changes because of Game Pass. Yeah, they made the announcement that you can download your games. They lowered the cost, right? They changed it, right? I think it was more expensive. It was more
expensive, and they added the ability to download the PS4 games, and they also, it was really dumb how they did it, but they also dropped some of their bigger titles, even though they pulled them off the service within like a month. They put Uncharted 4 and God of War 2018 on there.
Yes, yeah. So then you look at 18 to 20, right?
Oh,
700,000 to 3.2 million.
Oh, it's crazy.
And you see that, you're like, whoa.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you could correlate that data to those changes that they made. And that's specifically why they're going to the Azure servers, because they want a more consistent, streaming service. Now you look at the dollar on the right side. what does that scream? That's Game Pass,
Right.
right? 1080p streaming, they have to up that, in my opinion. But at this point, if Stadia couldn't really do the 4K stuff or consistently, because they had to lower some of their stuff, I don't know how long that's going to take. But the big thing is the Horizon Forbidden West and the Spider-Man Miles Morales, persistent quality, content focus, and top IP inclusion. Now, what does that mean? The Spider-Man already came out, and both of these are cross-generation games. Someone pointed that out on Twitter. Shout out to them. But if you look at these two titles, they're cross-generation games, but Horizon hasn't come out. Now, the question is, are they going to start with Horizon Forbidden West dropping these day and date like some of them?
That is a great question. I did not put that together, but yeah. Why would these be in that slide? That's a really great point. I don't, I mean, obviously Miles Morales has already come and went, and it's still making money at retail. But if they put Miles Morales out on PlayStation Now, and it's like E3, if it's like their big E3 announcement, it's available now on PlayStation Now. The time between a big Sony game and coming to PS Now, that's a hell of an accelerant. And certainly, that's fantastic. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I think with the comments that they've been making, they want to drop these things in there, obviously, to up their subscriptions. 3.2 million in the grand scheme is not much of anything, compared to Game Pass and stuff.
Right. Well, they're just getting started though, but I mean, they have to compete more. But then look at this. Look, the streaming playtime is interesting too, because obviously you've got a lot of people streaming because that's all you could do. And then you started to be able to download. But the streaming playtime, at least we'll see if this trends, but for the last, couple of months, it's been going up, which is quite surprising because I've always assumed streaming was going to take a much longer amount of time to get adopted.
I think if they give gamers the same quality that they get from downloading a game, if there's no lag, like if I play a game, because I played PlayStation Now, I did the trial, and I played God of War 1, and I didn't have any lag issues, so I didn't have an issue streaming that game. But if I'm experiencing lag and stutters, stuff like that, then I'm not going to want to do that. So if they can prove that, like, hey, streaming is just as good as downloading, gamers will do it that way. It depends on if they have like caps or anything.
That's true. That's true. All right, Salty, I appreciate you calling in, man, and I apprate you bringing.
Real quick. I just want to address the fanboy thing because that's why I called in. I think it's very interesting for me, okay? Because people have this thought process about me that I'm this hardcore PlayStation dude, which I am. I love PlayStation because they provide the games that I want to play. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, if they didn't do that, how long would I stay with the service? Or if they started doing things that I didn't like, I would not stay with them. I have all the consoles. I have a PC. Just because you guys have this thought process of me or these hardcore Xbox guys, they don't like me because I used to be a Xbox guy and I used to, preach the religion that they like to hear, and they hate me about that. I play games wherever I play. On the phone. Yeah. I'd play it on a fridge if I needed to, but my channel is a PlayStation channel, right? And YouTube has certain things. Like, I can't just go and like, hey, I'm going to talk about Stadia today and hope the algorithm doesn't flush my... I'm a PlayStation gamer,
you will make better money. I mean, if you want to be really successful, I mean, not really successful, but if you want to be... if you don't want to try for the brass ring, which is you're successful because of you as much as your content, then the money is the more. I'm not saying it is for you, but I think you and I would both agree that if you're like, look, that's the most important thing, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do beyond what I'm doing now in terms of quality and content, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you tell people exactly what they want to hear, and you stay totally focused on the same content.
That's not how I roll, though, right?
No. I'm not saying you do. I'm talking about the fact that there's two things. One thing you bring up is how you roll, which is you focus on PlayStation. Because if you start putting out a video tomorrow on Mideast politics, the algorithm is going to go, oh, not as many people watch that, so the next 3 videos, which are about PlayStation, which is who your fans are, aren't going to click. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about.
So a lot of people in your chat, I'm assuming they're Xbox people, right? They say that I'm a fanboy. So I wanna ask you, because this is why I called in originally. What is the definition of a fanboy, right? Like, what is a definition of a fanboy versus a non-fanboy? Because I'll tell you for a fact that I love video games. They're my life, right? But I have other stuff that brings me happiness, namely my family, okay? My kids and my wife. I would die for them, right? So video games don't take precedence over real life things, okay? So if video games went away, I would still have my family. But for some people, the weirdos online, a lot of them are in your chat, right?
I'm not reading the chat.
They don't have other things, and these video game consoles are their lives. It's their religion, like praying to Phil Spencer and having a shrine to him. It's a joke on Twitter and stuff, but they legit get wrapped up into it. So if I tell a joke on my Twitter, which I do, they legitimately, some of these people want to wish death upon me, right? Because I joked about their favorite console. Now that I'll never understand. Okay.
Well,
that's the mental illness side of it, because literally you guys are taking this to an extreme that it should never go to. Someone should be able to joke about your favorite console, and you shouldn't be personally hurt about it. It's like me being a Ford guy and a Chevy guy talks shit about my Ford. I don't give a f about that. I'm not going to lose sleep about it. I'm not going to wish ill on him. If it was a bad joke, it's a bad joke. If it makes me laugh, it makes me laugh. That's the same thing with these consoles. Now, if someone talks shit about PlayStation, I don't give a fuck. But some people online do, and that's the weirdos, because there's a lot of them online. And that's like, fanboy or not, sports or not, if you're wrapped up and it offends you to the point where you wish harm on people, and you're just, that's just weird. There's so many of them on David. I can't, because if you're a content creator, you experience these things. Okay? So
no, I'm with you. And listen, all I'll say, the last thing I'll say before I let you go is, I think the difference between a fanboy, I mean, a fanboy, the way it was originally pitched was just, you were a fan, you love something, you were a fanatic about something, and that's wonderful. But now I think a lot of people associate it with the toxic aspects of it and the ignorant aspects of it. And like Czar in the chat says, loyalty to a brand is what every company wishes for. They want people to be sheep. It's true. Saltiest, thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you soon, man. Appreciate it, as always.
All right, later.
All right, Saltiest. Let me get the chat, then I'm going to bring in Sumo, who's been waiting a good long time. Okay. What if we look at PS Now versus Game Pass? Says, I love helping at the station on weekends. Like scientists, perhaps Xbox gamers' Game Pass phenomenon is a result of having no games. Well, again, I mean, and then you kind of, step in shit by putting LOL at the end. But ultimately, I mean, look, man, I'm telling you, these systems with Game Pass, there's value to Game Pass, even though it doesn't have a lot of first-party games. But, I mean, I'm thrilled that you don't... I'm not thrilled, but I get that you don't see it. Hello, Zep Music. Good to see you as always, sir. Brandon Myers drops a super chat. He says, thank you, buddy. He says, fanboyism is such a small-minded train of thought. I agree with you. I mean, not in the way I was just describing it to Salty. Being a fan is wonderful. Nothing is wrong with being a fan. Nothing is wrong with liking Sony more than PlayStation. Nothing is wrong with liking the business and following the business and all this shit. That's great. But when you start taking it so goddamn serious that you can't have fun with it, something's broken in your brain, baby. Grizzly Bear King, thank you, buddy. He gives $5 super chat. He says, Papa Jaffe, and right back at you, I say, Grizzly Bear King, and I give you a bunch of hearts and love, and I appreciate it. Let me tell you something else real quick, then we'll get to the call. We got 2 brand new subscribers. If you are able, I would love for you guys to give a picture of my future wife to our newest Diet Soda Soldier members. Hynid, thank you for joining, buddy. I appreciate it. And Acute Perspective, if you guys can show them who I'm going to marry in the next 5 years, I would appreciate it. In the meantime, I think... Whoa! What? Hello? Somebody's at the door. Hang on. Let me see who's at the door. Holy cow, it's Phil Spencer, a.k.a. Jesus. Hello, newest members of the Diet Soda Soldiers. Fuck everything Salty and Jaffe were saying. Game Pass is life. Sony is stupid. Ha, ha, ha. Weird, man. That's so weird. He decided to drop by and say, hey, but they know I appreciate it. There's Taylor Swift. Thank you, Amon. I appreciate it, buddy. Okay, fuck you, Jay the Destroyer, you son of a bitch. Who is that lady, Cosmic? That's Taylor Swift, the future Mrs. Jaffe. Come on now. Come on now. All right, let me bring in Sumo. He's been waiting. Sumo, always good to talk to you, man. What's going on? Where'd he go? Sumo, are you there? Hang on, that's my fault. Sumo, what's up, man? Sumo, where are you? Sumo.
Can you?
I can hear you great. What's up, man?
Hey, man. Was wanting to comment on this whole fanboy thing.
Yes.
I think if you look at just Sony and Microsoft themselves, it would make more sense if they were shit talking each other.
Wait, I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. If you look at Sony and Microsoft, it would make more sense if the companies were shit talking each other.
Right. To kind of explain the fanboyism, but it's more of just a little bit of jealousy and fear of missing out. You know, you don't want to hear the product that you bought isn't as good as something else.
I think that's true. I think that's true. But I think that's
But it
that's
gets
a response. That's the response of a child, right?
Well,
I mean,
absolutely. But you also have not the industry itself directly, but you have the media, the game journalists. You know, we have sites that exist, in my opinion, just to fan the flames, like a digital foundry. You know, we're expected to have a bionic eye and give a shit about peas that these kids are calling up arms to battle over.
Yeah, and they'll take it to the playground or the lunchroom, and it's like, wow, this is not true 4K. You see, and it's like, dude, who gives a shit?
As though there's some standard to enjoyment that can't be met by these two companies somehow, and that they exist in some vacuum, and that we can't somehow accept the fact that they exist and their existence helps one another.
Yes. Well, although, you know, so the only thing I would disagree with on that for some people, not me, is if you look at that Sony report, it is absolutely clear that Sony is tracking to improve PlayStation Plus because of, or at least looking at what Game Pass did and go, okay, I think we need to maybe pivot a little bit. And there are people that will say, I don't like Game Pass because X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, I don't agree with that, but at least there's logic there that I'm like, okay, if it becomes what you're proselytizing and what you are doom and glooming about, then yeah, I would not like Game Pass either. So in that sense, I could see people being upset. But assuming that they're not that and they're just fanboying, yeah, don't worry, PlayStation fanboys. You're about to get your version of PlayStation of Game Pass because you see it in the investor meeting today.
I'm just shocked at why it even matters. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things, hey, whatever you're playing, rock on. I just don't get the whole concept of giving a shit about what somebody is playing. I
don't either, but I think part of it is probably just like politics. It's like, the politicians and the media work together, not necessarily consciously, because they make money the angrier we are. Okay, so IGN and GameSpot and all this shit, they make money by fanning these flames. Look, I'm not immune to it. Go to my YouTube page. Now, here's what I'll tell you. I will own up to the fact I don't do clickbait, but I absolutely do sensationalistic headlines like the National Enquirer. But I always make sure that when you come into the chat or into the show, it's not hyperbolic. It's not what it is exactly what you think you're going to get in terms of what we're talking about. Like we are talking about fanboys and toxic fanboys today. And that's what the thing says, but it's not as angry like that. Right. So, I mean, I get it because that gets you clicks, but there is a responsibility, I think, ultimately that you should have to kind of go, maybe we don't need to, I mean, again, it's not like anybody's getting shot over this, but it's just lame and it's embarrassing, and it makes the whole industry look stupid and fucking childish.
Is there any developer out there that would legitimately say, I refuse to make an Xbox game, or I refuse to make a PlayStation game? Of course
sure.
not.
Well, no, sure. Well, think that depends. I mean, I had an offer today from a huge company to direct a AAA game. They literally came and said, we want to make a God of War Last of Us killer. And they said, we want you to direct it. And I said, well, I'm really loving my stream right now. And so I said, thanks, but no thanks. Also, a lot of the money came from China. And I said, thanks, but no thanks. There's a lot of reasons a developer will turn down opportunities. And certainly if there's a developer that genuinely doesn't believe in Game Pass, or doesn't like that Sony is making inroads into China, and they have issues like I have with sort of the human rights violations of the PRC, then I guess they would say no. But your point though is, on the whole though, you're going to go.
The superficial aspect.
You're going to go where you can make the best game that you can, both in terms of monetary and support from the management and distribution.
Are there, with I'm curious why there is, because bringing up China makes me think of Tencent and the stake that they have in companies like Ubi and Epic.
That's right.
And how up in arms gamers will get over a Blizzard banning a winner while they run off to play Overwatch.
Of course.
Jump on the next Ubi game. It's one of these things that I think we lose any semblance of credibility or maturity.
I don't. But I'll tell you who does. Look at this bullshit. Look at your screen. I don't know if you can see it. I'm not saying it's Jason Schreier's fault. Here's a picture of him. But the point is, though, when are these guys going to write articles blaming the gamers? Right? There is a story that came out about Ubisoft about how people have come in and investigated. Do you remember how they had all the sexual harassment stuff?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people saying it hasn't gotten any better. A lot of the people who are responsible are still there, and there's a whole report that was done on this, okay? Well, I did some searching because there was a guy on YouTube who made a video and did a hashtag called I think it was hashtag hold Ubisoft accountable. And it trended for a day and a half, and then it kind of went away. Well, only fucking Screen Rant, that usually covers movies and shit, is the only... I went to IGN, I went to Polygon, I went to Kotaku, I went to GameSpot. I could not find any of the major sites covering this story. They covered the sexual harassment stuff in the summer, but why in the world are they not covering the fact that Ubisoft is basically, at least according to this report, failing in their responsibility to curb this toxicity all throughout their global corporation? And it's because of what you're saying, because ultimately I assume, they don't want to be told, sorry, you're not getting the code, you're not getting the access. And in that, they show you what side of bread their butter's on. What side of the bread their butter's on. If that makes sense.
It does, but I'm more curious on why you have a picture of Jason's punk ass so easily accessible and on deck to just bring up.
Because I prep my show, man.
Well, hats off to you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. You guys don't know how good I am. Let me tell you something. I'm the best goddamn video game streamer out there. I love Salty. I love Colin. I love Greg. I haven't talked to him in a while. They can't do what I do. I don't know if that's true. I'm sure that's not true. But the point of the matter is I prepped this goddamn show within an inch of its life. All my topics are up here. I knew exactly. Now, here's the difference, though. This is how good. Sumo, would you like to hear how good I am?
Of course. I'm sitting here on the edge of my seat.
Okay. So I prepped the show because at the end of the show, I was going to talk about the Ubisoft story. I do have an order I go in. But I'm like agile. I'm so quick on my feet that you mentioned the Ubisoft thing. Boom. I was ready for it. Salty calls in. He mentions the Sony report. Boom. That was later in the show. What I was supposed to get to next is IGN. Tensions are high at IGN after management claims Palestine post takedown was not corporate. That was what was coming up next. But that's how fucking good I am. I mean, look, I'm not into the men folk. I don't think you're into men folk either. But I think at this point, based on what I've just pitched to you, you're a little aroused by me right now, correct? Exactly. Thank you for calling in, Sumo. I appreciate it, buddy. Always good to talk to you, man.
Likewise, bud.
All right, see you soon. There goes good Sir Sumo off into the night. You don't keep a picture of Schreier in your wallet, says Saltiest. I don't. But the reason I put Schreier up there, though, is this is, as much as I dislike him as a human at the moment, this is a guy who is consistently referred to as the best journalist in gaming, and he breaks the stories and all that shit. And it's like, okay, cool. So where's your report where you blame the gamers? Where's your report where you say, hey, gamers, Assassin's Creed Valhalla was one of the best, I think it's maybe the best-selling Assassin's Creed ever, and this came after the summer where they were accused of all this awful stuff. Riot was accused of terrible stuff. Jason, I think, was the guy who broke the story. Why isn't he calling gamers out going, how come, what's their fucking thing? League of Legends and the other goddamn thing, the Valorant or their shooter, why aren't you writing that shit, right? I mean, ultimately, come on now. You're going to do it, you're going to do it. That makes no sense what I just said, but you know what I mean. Let me get some super chats real quick. We got one coming in from Vitter now. He says, would you do straight to Game Pass games? What would the first thing come to mind? Yes, not only would I, it's going to happen. It is going to happen, and it absolutely should happen. It is, and again, I'm not going to get into my big Game Pass rant, but let's just say that is one of the reasons I love PlayStation Plus when they get their shit together, PlayStation Now, and Game Pass and subscription services, because you are going to start to see the necessity to compete on the part of these people who have these services, and they are going to start making less expensive and thus more creative day and date titles specifically for their services. Is there a video game Ric Flair? You just want me to go whoo, which I'm not going to do. Fuck you. Would I own a convertible? No, Wolfblood. I've driven convertibles before, and I did not enjoy them. Plus, I have a big old bald spot. I don't want to get, the sun. Solo Sword, thank you, pal. He says, any chance you might, unless you already do, put your streams in podcast forms. Love your discussion with Colin and such. Much love, brother. The answer is yes. There is a friend of our stream. You may have heard of him. Let me get his name real quick. He and I spoke the other night. Where is this guy? Let me give you his name. He is on our Discord. He is... Where did he go? Oh, Torchwood. Torchwood 4SP. He is going to work with me over the next month, and we are going to start getting these podcasts, maybe this very one, up, or get these shows up on podcast form. He says he's going to cut out some of the dead air, some of the boring shit, and we'll go from there. So we're going to try it. I've been asked that a lot. I would absolutely love to get this up on a podcast. Absolutely. All right, hang on a second. Okay. So would I kill baby Hitler? Would I know that baby Hitler had no choice but to become Hitler? If that was the answer, then ideally what I would do is, even if I knew baby Hitler would become the actual Hitler, I would just make sure I was tracking him his entire life until he stepped over the line once in a way that made sense to put a bullet in his head, and I would put a bullet in his head. But if it was like, no, this is your only chance or the Holocaust will happen, well, yeah, I would fucking kill the motherfucker in a heartbeat. You goddamn right I would. Let me turn off that sound. I'm sorry about that fucking sound. And then we're going to get to some new stuff real quick. Hang on a second. Where is it? It's called the alert box. The alert box. Did somebody touch you in... Did somebody touch you in your alert box? You get it? Because... Oh, shut up. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay. Anyway, the only reason this story is kind of interesting, it just broke before we start, and that's a real breaking story, not what these fucking jokers were talking about earlier. So real breaking news is this happened, meaning it is in the process of happening, and it is worth your time. It is worth your attention. It merits a special tag, which is that it looks like now... For a while, if you remember, the IGN staff put up this sort of donate money to Palestine. It seemed clear, whether it was or not, it definitely looked like they were picking a side in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. which is, I don't fault anyone for picking a side, but that seems a little bit of an weird thing to do for a site like IGN, but fine. And I guess it was taken down. And for a while, the accusations were, oh, no, it came from above editorial, like the business people, and they have connections with Israel and all this stuff, and they thought it made them look bad. And then it turns out today that, and this is what we don't know if they're walking it back. Now editorial saying, no, this came from editorial and people who work here. This was not forced upon us. So nobody really fucking knows. Really, well, people know, but we don't know. But clearly this story is not over regarding the Palestinian IGN thing. The thing I thought was funny about it, though, and weird about it, though, is all of these, the line that struck me in this article was talking about how upset this spurred over 80 IGN staffers to sign and publish an open letter decrying corporate management's subversion of their editorial autonomy and demanding accountability. At first, it seemed like staffers would get their wish. Now, however, things have taken a turn. Okay, sure. Okay, if you're the Washington Post, if you're the New York Times, if you're even Fox News, you want to have an iron curtain between sales and marketing and management and editorial. I get it. But here's a thought, IGN. Again, you want to look, we're literally raising money right now. Well, this is actually for India, but we raised money on the recently for the people affected in the Colin Moriarty and I did that stream the other night, Friday. And we raised money for Doctors Without Borders, who are going over there and helping people on both sides who have been hurt and displaced and all this stuff. So I'm not opposed that they wanted to raise money, but to act like, how dare you, encroach upon our journalistic integrity. Well, okay, but, Brian Altano puts this out today. And Justin Davis puts this out the other day. Now, I got no beef with Brian Altano. He seems like a nice guy. I've always liked the content he makes. And I don't really have a problem if this is his opinion. But it is weird if you're going to be like, we are the standard bearers of fairness and, journalistic integrity. I don't know. I mean, it's okay, I guess, for him to say I like Xbox more than PlayStation. There's value in that observation. I don't like Xbox any more or less than PS5, but like Brian, I'm playing my Xbox more than my PS5 because Game Pass and Quick Resume makes it something I come back to multiple times a day. But it just seems a little weird. It's like you guys should pick a lane. You're either these hardcore journalists with these ethics and never will we sort of let anything come between that. But at that point, then you probably owe it to your audience to get a little bit more in the weeds about what's happening in Palestine and say, okay, we are throwing our weight behind the Palestinian cause and here's why. Because there's a lot of arguing on both sides and both sides. I'm not saying it's both sidism. Certainly in this case, I'm not getting into politics. Let's just say that in this case, it's hard to know what Israel's response should have been. Right? If you really look into the situation. So all I'm saying is it seems a little rich that these guys are kind of being like, you're fucking with our journalistic integrity. I'm like, well, I think you're doing that by yourselves, fellas. Far Cry 6 gameplay reveal. I may stream this, I may not. I'm getting my second COVID shot come this Friday. And if it makes me sick, I don't know if I'll have any streams this weekend. But I might stream it. The point, though, is does anybody give a fuck about this? And I'm not taking the piss out of Far Cry. I'm not saying anything's good or bad about it. I'm just saying that they're all the fucking same, man. I mean, I liked 5. I liked the story and the theme and stuff. But am I the only one that's just like, I'm so tired of Ubisoft in their open world formula? I can't handle it anymore. Ubisoft's like, fine, Jaffe, we need your fucking money. I get it. But I'm bringing it up because I'm asking, are you guys excited for this? Or are you guys like me where it's like, I can't handle it anymore. Give us something new, Ubisoft. Give us a Splinter Cell. Give us fucking something. So NBM says you're very excited for Far Cry. Well, okay. Well, I will watch the trailer. Actually, you know what? My shot for COVID isn't coming until later in the day. So this is at 9:30 in the morning. So I will live stream this. Okay. So let me get some of the chat real quick. Alexa says, Jaffe, it was a charity fund for Palestinian kids. If that's political to someone, why should the editors care? Because ultimately, Alexis, I don't have a problem with IGN necessarily picking a side, but if they're going to pick a side in such a contentious and hotly debated conflict, then you would think it would be their responsibility as such, serious journalists that they are, to basically explain why. Why are you not also supporting money for Israel? Why are you not also supporting money to Doctors Without Borders that will help anybody who has been hurt by this awful conflict? And I'm not saying their job should be to give money to both sides, but if you're not going to, and you're going to carry the banner of I am a serious journalist and my integrity is important, then wouldn't you think that if you're basically going to put a big stamp? I mean, look, whenever you have a newspaper that says we are throwing our endorsement to this political candidate, there's like a 7-page op-ed written by the editorial staff that says this is why we think Donald Trump should be reelected, or this is why we think Donald Trump shouldn't be reelected. You're just going to put up a little sticker under IGN and say Palestine, you click it, you can donate money. It just seems a little weird, that's all. I'm not saying they should be shamed for picking that side, but it'd be nice if they explained why. What vaccine did I get? I got Pfizer. Jaffe says, Brian East, if you're experiencing anything like mine, the second shot made me sleepy. The needle arm got sore. Yeah, I've heard everything from nothing to a lot. We'll see what happens. I'm not too worried about it. I'm just like, I think I might be sick, Justin says, Brian Altano's job is to have an opinion. It doesn't matter if you're reporting on hard news or reviewing a game. You have to have a firewall from sales. Oh, I understand. It's not that I don't understand the value of the firewall, but the value of the firewall usually is brought up when it's like we don't want business getting in the way of our ability to express ourselves because we feel that is our biggest thing that we bring to the table. And whether that's an opinion over Far Cry 6 or an opinion over Palestine, I think all I'm saying is if you're gonna be that guy, which is a great guy to be, then you should ideally be consistent in terms of where you pick and choose to be a journalist with that level of integrity, which I think is great. Okay, so a lot of you guys are excited about Far Cry. Great. Saad says he thinks, some of you guys are not, but a lot of people, you guys are excited about it. So great. We'll see. I'm going to watch it. I'll watch it on Friday. Some of you are not. Okay. Okay. So Metal Beer got the Pfizer. He said he had 100+ fever for a day. That was Moderna. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You're playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and even with the absolutely fantastic design and gameplay loop, it feels overwhelming and frustrating to be in that map marker open world. Yeah, I haven't played it yet. How did you get in your first shot tomorrow? That's good. I'm happy for you. Look at this real quick. I'm not going to spend any real time on this story. Virtuix raises $19 million for Omni One VR treadmill. Meh. Who wants this? I'm going to bring you in a second, Matt, in the chat. Who wants this? Seriously. I mean, it's cool, but do you really want to play a video game where you're fucking walking literally through the realm of whatever the world is called in Skyrim? Do you really fucking want to play that game? Be exhausted after 5 fucking minutes. Fuck that shit. That's all I'm going to say. There's enough suckers that $19 million of money was able to be given to this company to make this fucking thing. Who the fuck is going to get in this fucking thing? Oh yeah, Blood Dragon was great, Jack the Ripper. All right. Matt, it's Jaffe. How you doing, sir? Go.
Hey, Jaffe, what's going on?
I'm doing a stream, baby. I'm doing a stream. What's going on with you?
I was gonna say that. Just saying this, Jaffe. It's been a great day for Matthew. We have this Dragon Queen tomorrow. I got a cute girl snap. It's the summer of Matt. I'm declaring it.
Did you say you got a cute girl snack?
Snapchat, you know, Jeffy.
Oh,
Us young,
Snapchat.
us youngins. This is what we decide to
Yeah,
communicate nowadays.
fuck you. You'll probably
So
still
we're
you'll
doing-
probably still die first. Anyway, fair enough. Good
Yeah,
for you. I'm glad you're
yeah.
having a good day. What's up, man?
I just wanted to ask you, like, how do you have any opinion on Dragon Quest 12? Do you think this means the Switch Pro is on its way because they said no platforms? Is this what's happening?
I know nothing about what you're talking about. Let me look it up. Dragon Quest 12.
They
Tell me.
just had the announcement was a little while ago. They didn't announce any platforms, but they said they're working on it and it's coming. And I think the fact that they said no platforms means, you know, like if they would say PS5 because PS5 is here for the next 8 years. So
Well, what
I
do
don't
you
know
think?
why.
What do you think it means that they're saying no platforms? That they're saving that for E3 announcement, maybe, or what?
I'm thinking because it's not gonna. I'm thinking maybe it might be like a Switch Pro. Maybe there's gonna be a downgrade version for the original Switch. But I'm thinking like it might be basically, you know, maybe like the first thing. Like I'm pretty sure Dragon Quest like 11S we knew about before the actual Switch was launched. So like that was announced. So I'm thinking. This
Okay,
might
so
be the
you're
same
saying no
idea.
platforms just because that particular platform hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah, that's why they said no platforms. I'm thinking.
I see. Well, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I have never played a full Dragon Quest game in my entire life.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're a fan. Is it a good series? I mean, obviously it's a good series, but do you think it's welcoming to someone who's never played a Dragon Quest, or do you think it's like, dude, stick with, you know, Chrono Trigger and stick with Zelda and all that shit?
Yeah, so I've never gotten to play something like Chrono Trigger. Dragon Quest 11S specifically, the S version, I think is a great introduction to the series. It was mine. I got it when it first came to Switch because I watched Tim Rogers of Action Button.
Yep.
He was at Kotaku originally. I watched his video on it. I'm like, this sounds awesome. So I played that game, and it was really like he said, it was like playing a book. I played it the entire winter of 2018, whenever it came out, and there's like 3 endings. I only got to 2. I played 60 hours. I think.
Okay,
the third
so
ending
what
takes, like,
what
100
is
hours.
what is the one you played that you liked called?
Yeah, it's called Dragon Quest 11S. So it's like the re-release version of 11. It came out on Switch first, and then they ported it to PS4 and Xbox. Got improvements, quality of life stuff. It makes the game go a little
Now, why,
faster.
this is exactly what I do whenever I hear about a new game. It is my first stop. It is. I'm playing Octopath Traveler right now for the first time.
Yeah.
And I'm liking that. It's a little slow, but let's go and see if the Dragon Quest is on the Game Pass. It might be, may not be. I don't fucking know.
It actually is. It is. It's on Game Pass on 11.
Dragon Quest
it's
11S. Are you looking at the screen? Is this the one?
No, I just know because my friend, his wife was playing it on Game Pass when I saw him
Boom.
recently.
I'm installing it. That's how easy it
Fantastic.
is, kids. That's how
Yeah,
easy it
before-
is. Go ahead, man.
Before you got to go continue on the stream, I just want to let you know if you're liking Octopath and the art style.
Yes.
They're actually doing a remake of one of the original Dragon Quests in that same art style of the third game.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you
It's
the
looking
one
pretty hot. Like,
the
I'm not gonna
one-
lie, it's kind of sick.
The one I like
was wondering-
more, which I think the art style is cool, but what is the one from the, is it Mitsuguchi Fantasian? Have you seen that? That's on Apple Arcade, but that's the one done with real photographs of dioramas. And then they,
Google Images.
yeah, it's, let me bring this up, open
Well,
images.
that is pretty. That is wild for a phone.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's really cool, and you know, I'm going to buy an Apple TV I have one in the living room, but I'm going to buy one in here so I can actually play this on the stream, because it's a really good traditional game that also happens to just be gorgeous. And Apple Arcade is actually doing a lot of good stuff. It's really a joy to have a mobile phone service that doesn't have microtransactions. So everything that you play is genuinely just a good game. And you know, so it's good stuff. But yeah, okay, I'm downloading Dragon Quest now. I appreciate the heads up, man.
Yeah,
And thanks
that's a big commitment. So I hope you're.
well,
ready for that. And Jackie,
I rarely
thank you
finish
for-
games, so if it's boring, I'll stop. So
I just wanted to say thank you for always keeping this open. Great to hop in here and chat with you.
always, man,
That's
call
been me.
back anytime. I appreciate it, Matt. And hey,
Have a good night.
enjoy the hot girl snack.
Oh yes, thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
buddy. There you go, Matthew. I know what Snapchat is. Snapchat Gaming. By the way, what I didn't know is that they have I didn't know that they had games on Snapchat. Snapchat Gaming, I think they announced the other day, just grew 200%. 200 goddamn percent. I want to talk a little bit about Crap Gamer we'll talk about Xbox in a second. Let me just tell you something real quick. Metaverse, I only bring this up. I know a lot of you guys are not really into Roblox, and that's fine. But you know that Roblox they did an IPO for what's $40 billion. They're a big fucking deal. If you have kids, you've known about them forever. Well, this is really interesting to me. Now, if you don't know, Roblox is kind of like, if there is anyone that can lay claim to the YouTube of gaming, it would be Roblox, because most of the stuff on Roblox is compelling, but it's really shit, right? It's just done really poorly. And now companies are starting to realize there's a lot of money in the hills, and they're saying, let's actually use the Roblox tools and let's bring in real developers to make good games. And this is a company that has teamed up with a couple developers and Nerf to basically make a game that looks like a real fucking game compared to the stuff that you would see on Roblox usually. But what I'm fascinated by here is, a lot of people tried to do that with YouTube as well. If you remember, even Jeffrey Katzenberg, who just had that Quibi that went out of business in 5 months. His whole thing was, you guys like YouTube and you like short video, not a problem, but we're going to do ours with stars and production quality and music. And everybody just rejected it. What I find fascinating is, and I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to embarrass some of the people, but some of the biggest television personalities in gaming that used to bring in huge viewerships have YouTube channels now. And they are not, when I watch some of those guys go live and they have, 80, I'm not view shaming. My views are not, it's not like we're the most popular channel in the world, but we're growing, we're doing all right. But when you got those guys, and those guys literally are dealing with 70, and then you go over to Next Gen 720, and he's just shooting the shit with his buddies and being entertaining, and that guy's got 700 concurrent viewers. It just goes to show that the quality, because a lot of those guys who came from TV are still doing all the flash and the production and all that stuff, but no one's watching. I'm very curious if you're going to see a similar thing with Roblox, where you start getting pros coming in and actually making better quality games. Are the actual fans, are they going to kind of go, yeah, that's not why we love it. We love it because it's raw and it's personalized, and it doesn't feel it doesn't feel like corporate. It feels like punk. And I'm just real curious to watch and see what happens. So we will see together, shall we? Okay. Let's go to Crap Gamer and Saltiest Gamer. Because they both posted some stuff I want to talk about. Both, thank you, True Teller. Good to see you, buddy. They both posted some stuff that I think is worth talking about the last couple days. And since we haven't streamed, it's all kind of together. Crap Gamer put this out yesterday. He says, it's so nice a PS5 owner to know, 100% that you're eating good this year. I like the way he phrases it. You're eating good this year. No reliance on insiders to give you hopes. No need to wait till E3 over and over again. This I will agree with. And this is kind of why I'm not talking about Victor Lucas. Who? No, I'm not talking about Victor. There are a number of people of that generation or era of TV game reporting. But no, Victor, I was just on Victor's show. I'm not talking about Victor. So, a lot of people who accuse me of being a shill for Game Pass, you're idiots, but that's A. But B, Crap Gamer ain't wrong, right? It is absolutely ridiculous. Hello, Proto V, my buddy. Good to see you, sir. It is absolutely ridiculous that Xbox fans are like, a little Dickensian character at the window with a bowl at the window of a restaurant, like, may I have some more? May I have a game, sir? It's ridiculous. It is an absolute ridiculous situation. I don't think they need to be Sony. I think Sony is in a league of their own right now. But the fact that these guys are still not putting out anything is just, one day someone's going to write a fucking book and it's going to be a great look into what in the fuck is happening at that company behind the scenes. What in the fuck is happening? Now, again, maybe they are going to turn the corner. We know Psychonauts 2 looks like that's going to ship pretty soon. I have great faith in that. I'm looking forward to that. But the fact that here we are coming into an E3, and then we go over to Saltiest Gamer. Saltiest put this out. This is from Jeff Grubb, who banned me, who I've never even talked to in my life. I don't care that he banned me, but what a dick. But he's basically saying, I guess Jeff Grubb, Saltiest tweeted that Jeff Grubb put out a video the other day talking about, hey, Xbox fans, if you guys are waiting and excited for E3, I think you should keep your, excitement in check, because from what I'm hearing, and Grubb is, I would give Grubb like a 60 accuracy rating. He's 60% of the time he's accurate, 40% he swings and misses. But I mean, what are you going to do? It's not bad though. But ultimately, if he's right, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't understand why. And again, this may not be right. Maybe the Battlefield rumor is true. That's going to be day one Game Pass. You guys know I love Game Pass, but here's how you know I'm not a shill. Because I think Phil Spencer is doing a terrible job and Rudy is doing a terrible job. Or they have been doing a terrible job. Now, all may be forgiven because they're like, you know what? We were doing a terrible job. And 8 months ago, we turned our shit around and you just haven't seen it yet. That's fair. But you got to admit, these Game Pass guys, these Xbox guys have been waiting a long goddamn time. And it's just to get to a point where it's just like, I mean, I'm not being dramatic. I have all the systems. I play my Xbox more than my PS5, but I love them both. I'm not like, oh, I'm mad. Click me, give me clicks, give me likes. I don't care so much for that. I'm just saying it's interesting, isn't it? It's like opening a restaurant, not having any fucking food. It's like McDonald's is open. I'd like some fries. Well, you gotta wait. We don't have those yet, but we just acquired a potato farm. And it's a great potato farm. We spent $8 billion on this potato farm. You're going to love our French fries. You just got to wait a little bit. Okay. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm fucking saying. Fellas, I want to show you something before we get out of here. We usually don't mix games with the gabbing anymore. We separate them. But I want to show you the best game demo that I have ever played. That's not true. That's hyperbolic. But one of the best game demos I have ever played. Let me get some chats first, and then I will show you that. But there's some chats that I want to address briefly, and then I want to show you this game demo that I just think is crackerjack, baby. Okay. Something just happened on my Xbox. Off topic, but as Jaffe talked about, Amazon buying. Let me go see my dog's barking. I'll be right back. It was DoorDash. Okay. Okay. There you go. Hi was Get. Says I got an Xbox last week in Game Pass. I've been playing nonstop. Second Extinction is great. I haven't played Bleeding Edge, but Second Extinction I love. Okay. So Mike Who says, Jaffe, would you ever try out the crowdfunding route if you were to make your own game? I don't know. I just, here's what I would do first, right? And this is not me, shilling for money. I'm not saying this so you guys go, yeah, or what, but I have only thought about lately crowdfunding more from a standpoint of like, hey, if I could raise the money to hire a producer, and if I could pay that producer's salary, via, like, I could raise their salary for a year on Kickstarter or Indiegogo or whatever, and that would give us this. It would give us an extra show. It would give us a podcast. It would guarantee the gifts go out on time. It would kind of help the machine run better. I might look out to fund that. But I'm not really looking to make any games at the moment. Thoughts on Switch Pro releasing in September? Master Millions, I have no thoughts. I don't really care. I mean, I'm that kind of guy in that I play consoles for the games they offer. Unless Switch Pro is going to bring a game that I can't play anywhere else, versus it just looks a little better and it runs a little better on that versus the Switch I have now, I can't fathom why in the world I would want to acquire a Switch Pro. But I don't know, maybe it's amazing and I'll have to see it. But at the moment, I don't really care. Devil Kid, thank you, sir. He says, Jaffe, I just want to say I appreciate your work on Twisted Metal. I grew up playing 1, 2, and 3 in black, and thank you for the memories on behalf of a bunch of us. Because it wasn't just me, baby. Thanks for that. I appreciate those kind words. A bunch of us made those games, and I love that you grew up on them and you loved them. Thanks, man. I have not, Vaughn, seen the Unreal demo yet. Aaron says I could care less about Bethesda. What you mean, I think, is you couldn't care less about Bethesda. Isn't that annoying, Aaron? I can't lie. One of the best times I had was playing Dead Rising and Gears of War co-op on the 360 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare on the PS3. Yeah. Modern Warfare co-op was great. Disco Elysium, I probably will play, but I won't play it online because it's a lot of reading and it doesn't seem like a good stream game. Chivalry 2 starts today. Are you going to check it out? Yes, I will check it out. I played the first one, which if you don't know was For Honor before there was For Honor. When you were directing God of War, says writer Flo, I get it. Did you see the game? Did you see a game as The Rival? Certainly, the thing I remember the most was a guy named Richard Fogey, who is now the lead creative over at the guys who do State of Decay. What are they called? Undead Labs. He and I had been playing a lot of Onimusha 3, which was the one with the Jean, Renault. And he played it, he took it home before I did. And I got back Monday, and we were working on God of War at the time, and I said to him, what did you think? And he said, oh, dude, it's so fucking good. And it was, because I played it to the end. I loved it. I said, okay, well, how does it compare to what we're making? He says, let's put it this way. Onimusha 3 is like a Harley, and we're kind of like, he says, we're kind of like a Schwinn at the moment, like a Schwinn bicycle. So, and he wasn't taking the piss out of our game. He was just, that's how far of a road we had to walk before we could compete. So I know Fogey and myself had our eyes on Onimusha. We had our eyes on Devil May Cry, not in terms of combat. Stop that shit. We weren't trying to out-combat them. We were trying to out-entertain them, make our game more entertaining, but we were not trying to compete with their combat. What is my thought on Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kraven the Hunter? I don't really care. I love Kraven the Hunter. If you don't know who Kraven the Hunter is, he's one of Spider-Man's coolest enemies. And they just cast a guy today who is, I guess he was Pedro or he was some speedster or something, but this is Kraven. And this guy, is he the one that was the speedster in the, he was Quicksilver in not the Fox version, but in the Disney Avengers. But I love the character, and I learned a long time ago that you really shouldn't judge casting based on the look, because certainly there are people you could find that look like Kraven the Hunter, but that doesn't mean they're going to exude the essence of this great fucking cool character. So I don't know enough about it. I did like the Venom trailer. God, I love Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man so much. Don't love him as much as Superman, but I love him. God, Spider-Man's a good comic. This was a great one. This is like a classic. I own the original of this. I think I forget what it was called, but it's like Spider-Man gets buried alive and shit. It's so good. Okay, so I did see that 2-second clip from Uncharted the movie today that they were streaming, which really wasn't anything. It was Mark Wahlberg and what's the guy's name? Wahlberg and Tom Holland, just like in a restaurant. And then they also put out a new screen grab. I don't really, I mean, I'm not unexcited, but nothing they've shown so far, other than that one shot with Nathan Drake in costume, got me all that interested. So I was like, that looks pretty cool. Oh, I know, Diego. Diego says, Jaffe, check out Mondun. Let me show you something, sir. I have been meaning to stream that for ages, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But it is very cool. It is a very cool horror game, and I am into it. But I will play that. Okay, I want to show you guys now. We're gonna go to some gameplay. I'm not gonna play for long. I'm literally only going to play a demo, and this is something that I saw. I downloaded this last June, and it just, on Steam, it's one of those reasons or one of those things where a lot of times you download something on Steam. It was like the Summer Games Festival, and I just never got around to playing it. And last night I was looking at my list, and I'm like, oh, what is that? I don't know why it was so high on my list. Maybe I had it by alphabetizing versus date. But I saw this, and I was like, okay. And then I played it. You tell me what you think. But I think this is a goddamn blast. A goddamn blast. We got El Pollo Loco from DoorDash or Postmates or whatever it was. Caveman, Amazon buying MGM. I don't know enough about it. I know that they did buy MGM. And they're going to get the rights to a number of things because of it. Does that mean we're going to start seeing, a James Bond TV series? What does that look like? I don't know enough about it. I assume it won't affect any of the deals that are currently in place, for, like the Hitman Teams game and things like that. But let me turn off my Xbox real quick. Oh, fuck you. Okay, hang on. Hello, official channel. Good to see you. All right, but this game I found last night. Let me turn off Xbox real fast. Oh, that dog. That poor dog. He's so stressed sometimes. Oh, my God. Fuck USB. Yeah, I'm not showing. Here's something I hate about the Xbox. I hate that their goddamn controller is not rechargeable batteries built in like the fucking PlayStation's been forever. It's ridiculous. It's fucking 2000 and whatever the fuck it is. 21. Fix that shit. Okay, that goes away. The reason I'm doing this is I got to put the whatever. What does Xbox need to do at E3, Victor? Hello, Victor. I mean, I don't know. What do they need to do? In order to do what? I mean, to have a good E3, ideally, I think they need to show some games, whether it's Halo and Starfield. I got to dust my computer, man. It's a mess. Whether it's Starfield and Halo or new things, but ideally, I would love to see them, ideally, if you're those guys, you would come in and Halo would be exciting and great. Starfield would be exciting and great. They would say, hey, guess what, motherfuckers? Day one, Game Pass, 3 big games, Battlefield, this and that. And then they would show, and they would say, Psychonauts 2 would have already come out a month earlier, or that's now. So no, sorry. Maybe Psychonauts 2 is day one E3, and it's like it's available now. Like that could be their. If think about that, I mean that's a good E3 for those guys. And then they also trot out Tango Gameworks new stuff and In Exile's new stuff and some Bethesda stuff. That would be, I think, an amazing E3 for those guys. Philosophy, I have seen Graven. I know it's out of or into early access today, and I am going to buy it and get it. Let me show you this demo. This is called, it's a terrible name. It's called Gory Cuddly Carnage. I know. Just give me a minute with this. Let me just, I'm going to play through the whole demo, It's not that long, but this is what a demo should be. This is what a demo should do. In my opinion, when I got done playing this, I literally called the folks over at Movie Games I'm doing some work with right now. And, you know, they're always looking for developers and publishers to partner with to make cool shit. And I said, you guys should check this game out because this goddamn thing is fucking crackerjack, baby. So I don't know if they're going to or not, but I think this thing is excellent. Let me figure out why there's no audio. Hang on. Oh, that's why, because there's literally no audio. Hang on. Can you guys hear the game? Okay, hang on. There you go. You can hear that, right? All right. Okay, I'm not going to look at the chat as much just because I'm playing. Oh, you got a Series X from Xbox, from GameSpot. Good for you, sir. You hope it's worth it. I've loved mine, man. Okay, here we go. I'm going to skip the cutscene. I don't give a fuck. Give a fuck about the cutscenes. Some cat in a spaceship. I don't fucking know. Don't care. Don't care. All right, let me know how the mix is. Okay. But anyway, this cat and his talking skateboard hoverboard crash land on a planet. And they're trying to get home. Is sort of my understanding.
Yeah, you're right, Corey. Earth is too dangerous. We have to get out of here. I know a place that should have a ship.
Okay.
I'm activating tutorial mode. That was the Frank Time Warp. Frank Time Warp is a trademark of Cool Toys. Frequent usage of Frank Time Warp.
I do not like the voice acting of the board, but whatever.
Wow, that was weird. Don't worry. When they're not flying towards you and explode, they look really bouncy. Let's jump on them. You don't remember one of my main functions?
Oh, is this getting all choppy? Is it not streaming? Is it streaming all choppy?
Good one, Gory. Check this out.
Are you guys getting really bad frame rate? Yeah, why in the world, anybody have any thought, why in the world would it be running choppy? It's got to be the game. Because my picture's not choppy at all. Okay, wait a minute. No, you don't fuck with me. Look. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a video of this instead. Because this game is awesome. It is great. Let me just see what would cause that. Like why? I mean, my game is running at a smooth 60. Why would a game like technologically? What would cause that to occur? Turn down the graphics. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I have it all very high. Let's just go medium. I mean, it's a pretty game, but fuck it. Let's just see if that makes a difference. Vertical sync, does that matter? Okay, tell me if this is any better.
If they want to play, I am ready. We gotta keep moving. This town is scary. Oh, that was really scary, Corey. We could die. have to jump off the rails.
Ugh. Hang on, fuck you. All right, now I can focus. No, it's not Tony Hawk. You give it a second, you'll see. You'll see. I mean, it's fun to play, but that's not. This isn't the core of it. But they got a real problem attaching the grind. Again, this is a demo, but are you shitting me? Come on, you guys. Fuck you, DDP. You know, fuck off. Let me tell you something. Fuck stick. Okay? How often do I steer you guys wrong when I tell you there's a good fucking game? All right? So just give me a minute. Let me get to where I'm going. Let me deal with this fucking bug. And just fucking, just wait. Just, you know what? I think I've earned a little fucking credit in the bank with you cocksuckers. Okay, let me just get past this. I don't have performance anxiety, you fucker. Okay, let me just calm down. All right, here we go. I'm going to show you. You're going to love this. Not that, of course. They really do have a problem with this grinding. All right, here we go. Fuck you, Jose, you piece of shit. That is not what's happening here.
Hurry, you have to jump off the rails. This town is scary.
And what's going to happen is you're going to owe me an apology in a second. Because you're going to go, oh, Jaffe was right. It's like, yeah, you goddamn right I was right.
That was really scary, Hurry. We could have died. Cool.
Thank God.
Maybe we should avoid
The unicorn.
now with detachable limbs. Wow, slice those Let's boost and jump that rock in high speed. We gotta find that ship. This planet sucks.
Yeah, we're going to watch Horizon tomorrow.
Danger! Hook on and back up.
The slicey core.
Use only in adults' company.
And it just gets better and better. Just hang tight. Again, the demo's not super long, but...
Hold to slide. In air, boost and attack for a deadly dive. Delicious rat juice. Just what I need to refill my boost. While sliding, use my fuel to boost and attack upwards.
Frank, I'll get you your question in 1 second, bud. I have not played Maneater yet, no.
The surety core.
Slime refills sold separately. Amazing!
It's not the humor though, but it just feels so fucking good. You're about to unlock some other moves, Magello. You'll see.
Separately.
Well, his name is Corgi, but I like to imagine it's Cory Barlog. Maybe that's just my fantasy. I don't know. I need some health, motherfuckers. There's some health, thank God.
worry, Corey. We're almost there. The ship is right ahead of us. Oh, they got the Christmas gift of 2034. Bubble shields.
The bubble shield.
Fun for the whole family. Fun for the whole family until they run out of air in there. We need something special to smash through those shields. We need to go for a detour. This way. Hurry.
Okay, almost at the end. Bacon Magma, I'm playing a fucking video game right now. Nobody's ducking your fucking questions. I will get to those super chats in just a second, guys.
Let's get over there now. Corey, you have to jump off the rails.
Hover Frank system updating.
Subnautica, I've tried it
Number 5000 installed.
before.
I got some new toys. Let's try them out on that.
How do I chat while playing Returnal? Because I know that game a lot better. Damn it. Hang on. Gibby the Clown? I don't know who that is, man.
Hold to use me as a shield. And apply boost power for slam wheel.
Okay. It's PC only right now, yes.
Hold to use me as a shield. And apply boost power for slam wheel. So close.
I think the studio is called Angry Demon Studio.
I don't like you. Please lay down and die.
You'd have to ask Bukaki why he's named Bukaki Drive-By. I assume it's self-explanatory, but...
In the air for slam power.
Oh, you have to hold it. Okay, hang on. Well, that's a good move.
You are dead next time. Kind of puddle acuteness detected. Prepare to die.
Oh God, Blink's the time sweeper. Oh. This game is awesome, Diego. Fuck off. It plays like butter.
Starting extermination. You're another fucker. Die.
Oh my God. Hello, Six. Good to see you, man. Okay, well, the boss is coming up. Check out the boss. He's awesome. Oh my God. The frame rate's super smooth on my end. Is it not on yours, Frank? I'm looking for one more guy to kill. There he is. Is there a strategy involved? Yeah, it's kind of platformy.
No idea how we got here, but this is the ship we were looking for. It's compatible with the ship. We have to find some place where we can plug him in. Wait, how about over there?
It might be hard to find the Switch Pro at first,
They're coming. Don't let them hurt shit.
but eventually you will.
Out of this town.
All right, so the boss is coming into this room in just a second. Like, this game high would be amazing.
He will fuck you up and swallow you whole.
Fuck you up and swallow you whole. Smash him for daddy.
Shit. Yeah, not sure why it's slowing down like that. And that's the demo. It's one of the best demos I have ever played. One of the best demos I have ever played. It is so fun. I highly recommend it. It's called Gory Cuddly Carnage. You can find it over on Steam. The game is... I know the developer currently has a Patreon. You know, we'll see. We'll see what happens if they get their funding. Let me close it real quick. It's killing. But yeah, that's it's good stuff, man. It's absolutely fucking great. It's a lot of fun. I recommend if you can get it, play it because it feels really fucking good. It feels really fucking good. The controls of that character. But yeah, we're having. Let me get to some super chats real quick. Am I still slide showing or it's better? Oh, that dog! Shut up, man. All right, let me get to these super chats real quick. Magello says, upon playing, do you think the assumed obvious extra costs for production hurt Returnal by releasing it $70? Let me go see what he's doing. I'll be right back and we'll get these super chats. Okay. Upon playing, do you think the extra cost for production? I see. Is there a cheaper game there? I mean, it's a really great question. I mean, my understanding of that game, I don't know how much the extra time and money went into production value versus finding the game, but I would absolutely agree that game, is beautiful as it is, that game could work just as brilliantly without the production value, and it could have done better not being at $70. I mean, that game at $70, given how punishing it is, I think it was really a recipe for disaster. I think in the same way, and maybe they didn't have the same option, but in the same way that Sony was able to look at Destruction All-Stars and say, our biggest chance of success is dropping this free for PlayStation Plus members and then selling it for $20. They should have looked at Returnal and said, you know, it's a great game. It is a great game, but it reminds me of those movies sometimes where a movie studio would have a really special movie that was kind of hard to sell. So they would kind of roll it out slowly. And I don't know if there's a video game equivalent of that, but ideally it would be something like that. You could do something creative where it was sort of like Hello RPG, where it was sort of like, you know, we're only going to sell like, you know, we're going to put Returnal out there to, I don't mean like YouTube influencers, but to people who we know will really get it. And then we're only going to release 30,000 copies digitally. And then we're going to release 80,000 copies as word of mouth. I mean, I think something like that may have been more interesting for it and maybe allowed it to not just get slaughtered by word of mouth. Because I do think word of mouth has been great, but also word of mouth has been, it's really fucking hard. And for $70, go fuck yourself. So but I do think you could have made the same game great, cheaper, but it's still, but you know, the production value is beautiful. It's a gorgeous fucking game. I've only gotten to the second boss, Tyson. I love it, but I suck at it. Jaffe, thoughts on Biomutant? Honestly, Joshua Cruz, thank you for the super chat. You know, look, I live on the internet. I live on video game culture on the internet. The fact that Biomutant somehow escaped my radar is worrying to me because everybody's asking about Biomutant, and it almost, I know this isn't the case, but it almost feels like the publisher went out and paid a shit ton of money to have people online talk about Biomutant. It's like, what is this game that came out of nowhere? And I know it was in development for like 3 years or a long time, but it really was not, I didn't see it covered all that much. I didn't hear people talking about it all that much. And suddenly everyone's talking about it and what do you think of it and all this stuff. But I haven't played it. The reviews are such that I have no intention of buying it at 60 or 70 or however much money it costs. It seems like a good game to wait for Game Pass or wait for a sale on. So that's my take. Jaffe, thank you, Frank. I appreciate it, buddy. Hope you're well. Question. Twisted 2, when you burn the Mona Lisa, you get a code that says up, down, left, 1, R1. What did the code do? I don't know. I'm going to look it up right now because you're not the first guy to ask that. I've been asked that a lot recently. What does Mona Lisa code do? Twisted Metal 2. I don't remember. It unlocks the Suburbia level. There you go. So that's the answer, bud. Thank you for the super chat, Frank. I appreciate it, buddy. Let me make sure I got them all for tonight. All right, there we go. Fellas, we did it. I hope you guys had a really good time hanging out and chatting and discussing games and the biz. Quick reminder, don't forget if you're interested, tomorrow, let me tell you what's going on around these parts. At 2 p.m. tomorrow, we will be streaming the Horizon State of Play. If you want to come watch that and hang out with us, that's great. Tomorrow night, we are doing Gabbin' Games Game Night. We're going to be playing Super Bomberman R. This is free tonight. This is free. You can get it on PlayStation 4 and 5 for free, at least the free-to-play portion of it. It is cross-gen and cross-play with PC and Stadia and Switch. So if you have a console or a way to play games, you can play this with us tomorrow night. Knockout is currently free for about 4 or 5 more days. So, and this is also cross-play. So both of these games, unless you just don't want to play with us, you have no excuse. Knockout is a fucking brilliant game. I love this game. Super Bomberman R on Stadia was great. But I didn't get to play it all that much, so I'm looking forward to playing that. That's tomorrow night at 5:45. Game members will have front-of-the-line access, but everybody can play. These games have high churn rates, so we'll be able to get a lot of people in and out. Hopefully, I'll see you guys tomorrow at the 2 p.m. Forbidden West Horizon stream, and then later at 5:45. And then don't forget, we're less than 15 or less than 16 hours away for the bids for the God of War charity auction and the Twisted Metal charity auction. I'll put the links in the chat right now. This one is up. This is $405. This is original concept art from TM2 Amazonia. The highest bidder is a guy named Brazar at the moment. I'm going to put this up. This goes, 100% of the money goes to help COVID patients and people who are ideally, it's all COVID, but my understanding is the charity, which is one of the highest rated charities in the world, is giving a lot of their attention right now to sort of just the devastation that's happening over in India. So hopefully we can get up at least to $1,000 with both of these combined to help out some people and do some good. And you'll also get some very rare items that really are, if you're a collector. This is one of the rarest Twisted Metal items ever, and this literally is, it's just a piece of notebook paper, but these are gameplay concepts that I was designing before we even called it Dark Odyssey. It was Greek Myths gameplay, and this is the beginning of what has become a billion-dollar franchise right here on this little sheet of paper here. So check it out if you're so inclined. In the meantime, that has been Gabbin' Games for today. Thank you, RPG. Thank you, Bukaki. Thank you, Rathy. I don't think we saw Rob today, but thanks always to the mods. Let me get this last super chat. Magello says, are you comparing the content production and gameplay of All-Stars to Returnal? They seem opposite. No. What I was saying is, in the same way that Sony realized, you know what, because remember, Destruction All-Stars was coming out at $70. they said, there's probably a smarter way for us to get this to more fans. I'm saying, similarly speaking, when they looked at the budget and the difficulty level and the current price point for Returnal, I think they should have also tried to have a bit more of a creative release for that game, because both of them, although I liked Destruction All-Stars, but I think Returnal is brilliant, and I think it's game of the year kind of stuff. So I definitely think they probably went the wrong direction selling it for $70 right out the gate. So there you are. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Thank you for all the conversation, the super chats, the memberships. I very much appreciate it. I hope you guys stay safe and well, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at the State of Play or game night. All right.